Again, let me go back to the example that Daddy actually gave. So what the story is, if we take the story by what he communicates to us, if the father didn't come to see Jesus, that miracle was not going to happen. So parents, we have work to do in the lives of our children. That is important. Now, the third one, it says ability to contribute productively to the society in which you belong. We all belong to social groups, we belong to societies. And it gives us some example. It says family, school, work, church, and social groups. Ability to contribute productively. Now, let me break this down to you. What it's actually talking about is responsibility and accountability to the society in which you belong. Every society, whether church or school, it's got metrics that you've got to adhere to. It's got standards that you've got to adhere to. You have to show responsibility. You have to show accountability. So when you notice that, okay, in church, this is what is expected of you, and you notice that you're falling short, you're not doing exactly that, there's a mental health issue. It's amazing. This WHO definition, did you see anything pointing you to psychiatric hospital? No. But all of us seated here, I'm sure we can mirror ourselves, right? And we know where we actually fit in this whole story. Based upon this, they say that 1 in every 4 people you actually see has had some mental health problems before. Look, let me ask you, is that true of us? It's really, really true. And listen, the data is worse than that, because WHO will not do anything without data. Now, when they say 1 in 4 people, what that means is that they collected data. That 1 in 4, they collected data from people. The data they collected from people, were you part of it? None of us here. What that means is that, in actual fact, the reality is that it is worse than that. So mental health is a serious thing. And we've got to actually unpack it really well to be able to deal with it. Now, I'm sure sometimes people get to ask, okay, if I have all of this, maybe I don't have the ability to coordinate my thoughts really well. I can't manage normal stresses. I've not been able to contribute productively to the society in which I belong. But I have a normal life. I'm married. I have my children. I'm working. Is that not okay? No, it is not. Let me tell you the worst part of mental health. The research is that people who have mental health, that is not treated. This is sad. It's not just people, entities, nations, everything you call body. Who have mental health is not treated. They have 20% less capability, less capacity, and less lifespan. Please, do you understand what I'm talking about? What that means is that if you have mental health issue, and you're going through your normal work, and you have stress, you're going through the normal work, you get stressed up, and you come back, you get stressed up, and you have a family life, you're still stressed up, and all of that. What that means is that your lifespan, right, is actually being slashed down by 20%. And you know what that means in real numbers? What that means is that if nature is programmed, everything about you, to live up to 75%, before you pass on to glory, before you actually go to God, right? What that means is that you will live less than number of years. And when we take the 20 years into consideration, look, let's do the mathematics really quickly. I'm sure you have phones here. So 20% of your 75% that nature is programmed you to, how many years will you live on Earth? I think I've got to actually structure the question really well, particularly for the youth. Right, so 20% of 75% years granted to you. How many years would you live on Earth? Go to your current tools, Chat GPT. It will give us something. It will give us something. It will give us something. How many years will you live on Earth? To get my mathematical power, I think you'll live 60. No, we've already worked out with the percentage. So the percentage is 20%. Thank you. So what that means is that by 60 years, you'll be gone. Yes, by 60 years, you'll be gone. Even if you are not gone by 60 years, by 60 years, you'll be struggling with life. So, living with mental health, that is not treated. Right? It doesn't insulate you in any way. The fact that you're not in a psychiatric hospital, right? It doesn't insulate you. It doesn't protect you. It still takes something off your life. If we look to nations, it cuts the GDP of nations by 20%. So if we actually put a radar on America, whatever America is actually producing, whatever America is getting, if America didn't have people with mental health issues, America would get 20% more. Whatever Ghana is getting with mental health issues, we have 20% less. So it's so important in every story for we to deal with mental health issues, as we say them. So it's extremely important for we to understand. So this WHO, definition is the baseline definition of mental health. So all of us got to actually, you see, when you observe your children, observe them with these metrics. Is my child able to coordinate their thoughts really well? Do they have panic attacks? Do they have anxiety disorders? Are they able to deal with normal stresses? Right. There are children that even misunderstanding and exchange of words between mother and father, it gives them panic attacks. If you don't observe them really well, you won't see it and they will not communicate. And what it is that the stressor hibernates to resurface when they become teenagers. And it's so really important. Now, let's look to this. After the definition, it says misconception. The misconception is that only people in the psychiatric hospitals have mental health problems. I think we've talked about that. But this is a wrong conception. Right. Now, if not just only people in mental health, psychiatric hospitals have mental health problems, okay, let's see the reality now. Now, it says the reality of mental health. Now, look at the data. You see the first one? Please, can you see the first one? Yes. It said 90% of people with mental health condition live in our homes, in our communities. And this is where they get a 1-to-4 ratio from. 90% they live in our homes. It tells and it communicates to you how really serious mental health problems are. Right. Now, it says only 10% are in the psychiatric hospitals. Of course, if it's 90 outside the psychiatric hospitals, 10% will be in there. Now, this is where I want us to put the radar. It says 1 in 7 youth experience mental health challenges. Now, 1 in 7 youth, this is a global data. 1 in 7 is about 12%. Now, what's the population of the world? Anybody got the idea? What's the population of the world? You don't have any idea at all. 8 billion, thank you, sir. That's the population of the world. According to the people who have submitted the data, when they were counting to get to 8 billion, were you counted? What that means is that we could be more than that, right? But let's work with the 8 billion. So if we say that 1 in 7 youth experience mental health challenges, what that means is that 1 in 7, if we convert that ratio into percentage, it will be 12%. Now, 12% of 8 billion. 12% of 8 billion. Even if we reduce it so that our calculation will be actually quite easier for us, let's do 10%. 10% of 8 billion. This is a stressor question, but you should have the ability to be able to, you should have the ability to be able to deal with it, right? Especially 800 million, right? No, now, if we have youth, 800 million youths with mental health problems, do we have a good record? No, we do not have a good record. 800 million, that is twice the population of the whole of America. I think America is about 345 million, right? And we are talking about 800 million youth with mental health problems.